Hello YouTube. Wanted to share what I'm doing. It's kind of a neat project here. I really like it a lot. This is a study Bible, but it's a PDF, and it is the ESV study Bible in PDF format. So I've been working on this for quite a while, about 6 months now, but now I've got my code developed, so I'm kind of on a roll. But I'd like to share with the audience here that's interested what I've been up to and how far I got. It started out as just dabbling to try to see what I could do. So this is the first page of the PDF. Um, if I click in the center of this, it takes me to the table of contents. The table of contents is completely hyperlinked, so it's pretty nice. I've been looking at a lot of YouTube reviews of Bibles lately, and people get really excited whenever there's a larger font size included. And I think that's one of the advantages of a PDF is that you can zoom in on a page and you can get the text as large as you want it to be. So, you know what? Let me back up and just kind of show you the copyright page here and talk a little bit about this. So, it is my understanding that what I'm doing is totally legal. I recognize that all of this material is copyright protected, but just really quick, I've purchased a hard copy of the ESV Study Bible back when it first came out. Then the iPad came out, and I started using a bunch of apps. But I enjoyed that, and I really liked and really appreciated that I could type a digital note with no end. I mean, you talk about room in a hard copy, you can type digital notes. But I'm kind of a handwriting kind of guy, and that's kind of pushed me to go back towards. I repurchased another ESV Bible within the last year and tried to go back to using it because I really like the page layout and the handwritten notes. You know, in the apps, you're you're clicking to see this image, you're clicking to see this chart, and then you got to come back to where you left off reading. On a page, the layout is just so nice. Oh, that ding just reminded me. Let me turn off my notifications here. So that's the motivation, I guess, is why I created a PDF. But I was talking about legal. Boy, I'm rambling now. So what I'm doing is all done by me. I'm not hiring anyone else to do this. I'm not doing this for anyone else has hired me to do this for them. I own a digital copy. What I'm using is for my personal use only. And as far as I think I understand and looking at the Fair Use Copyright Protection Act, I am simply doing a format shift so that I could use the content from the hard copy on my iPad. So if anyone knows that I am doing something illegal, then it's very important to me that I stay legal. So I want to cease and desist and stop and throw away the code and all that good stuff. But I think I'm supposed to throw away the code as soon as I complete within a reasonable amount of time. And I've only keep one copy, and I can't give that out, and I can't use that in a public forum, and I got to be very protective about making sure this isn't leaked onto the internet, or else I'm liable. But as long as I'm just using this for my own personal use, I think what I'm doing is totally legal under the Fair Use Copyright Protection Act. So there's a copyright page, table of contents. I want to talk a little bit about the linking system that I've created. I think it's very useful, very functional, very nice. So on the table of contents, there are two bold black pages. You see them there, the Old Testament, New Testament navigation links. These are very, very functional. By the way, the table of contents is the only place I can get to all these articles. You know, the articles are in this italics type. Then you got the books. But these articles, look, between Acts and Romans, then there's an article on reading the epistles. I love these articles. I've read a lot of them. Right before Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and Acts, there's reading the Gospels and Acts. And then you got all this between the background to the New Testament, this time in between the New Testaments and all this. These articles are wonderful. Even when I bought the ESV Study Bible digital content from Crossway's ESV app itself, I still couldn't get to these articles. Another motivation for doing the PDF. I think when you purchase that, you should have some sort of reasonable access to the articles. Maybe they're still working on that, but anyway. So let's show you the Old Testament navigation links. Let me go back down. So, by the way, I am viewing this PDF in the app called GoodNotes. I really like it. It handles writing on pages with the Apple Pencil very well. Feels almost like you're really writing on a real page. But anyway, here's the first page of the Old Testament. There's the second page of the Old Testament, navigation links. And so you can get to any chapter in the Old Testament from just these two pages. There's these charts of each book. So the chapters are there. And then the New Testament is all handled on one page. So between these back-to-back pages, I can jump to any chapter. Okay, and then because these pages are so important in the navigation system, if I'm at any chapter, I'll go to Matthew chapter 5. This is the page. There's always these headers at the top. Let me just kind of hold down. This is actually a tappable link, but if I hold down, it won't hyperlink. It's just show. So this is a right-sided page. So this gives you the last verse on the page. I've released it, so it thinks I'm trying to do something with that selectable text. And here's the previous page. So this is the left-sided page because the margins are in the center, the seam of the hard copy Bible. You know, if you imagine that these pages are in the Bible. But if I click on these headers, and because this is a New Testament book, I will jump back to the New Testament navigation link. Same is true of the Old Testament. If I go to Isaiah 28, and now here's the left-hand, right-hand page or whatever. If I click on a header here, it will jump me to the Old Testament links. So from any page with Scripture, I can get to this. Now, if I'm at an article, it takes me over to the table of contents. I will go to an article as an example about reading the epistles. So here's the article. Both the title of the article and even the article's headers are clickable items. And if I click them, it takes me to the table of contents. So from the table of contents, I can get to these pages. From the Old Testament, I can link over and jump really fast to a New Testament back to the Old Testament. From either one of these, I can go to the table of contents. From the table of contents, I can go back to these. And from chapters or articles, I can jump back to either these pages or the table of contents. So that's the way the navigation works within this PDF. So there's some slight artwork in the back of the Old Testament. You see the Ark of the Covenant is there. And then for the New Testament, this is the resurrection empty tomb image, which is in place at John chapter 20 or thereabout. There we go. This is the image that's 15% opaque. So that's another thing about the ESV Study Bible, is chock full of commentary and articles and all kinds of extra things that you get in the way that of the extra material that comes with the ESV Study Bible. Sorry for the dog. Well, here we go. This is a 2-page insert that's just kind of thrown in there in the middle of this Gospel of John. So you got this scripture on page 2065, then you go to a 2-page insert. And this is the left page and the right page. But hey, because it's a PDF, how about we look at this on a single page? So I've got a link down here at the bottom. View the image on a single page. And if I click that link, I am not only viewing it on a single page, but I'm viewing it on a single page in landscape mode. So you can zoom in without the seam of what would be in the Bible on the inner seam part, dividing this image up, you can see this image with no obstructions, and you can read the things at the top. Pretty nice. That's another thing about the ESV Study Bible. And by the way, this is at the end of the PDF. All of the 2-page inserts are kind of back to back here. And if you want to see where that 2-page insert was inserted, you just click the link at the bottom. You can go back to where it's inserted. So here's the right side of the page, the left side of the page, and now we're in the Gospel of Matthew, because that's where this occurs, to see Jerusalem in the time of Jesus. So pretty neat. A lot of artwork is in this Bible. Well, let me jump back to the navigation links. So here we are. If you notice, some of the books, like Romans there, does not have a blue background. So this is a visual cue to me of where I need to do some work. So Acts is complete. First of all the scripture is in this PDF, all of it. So it's fully functional as a Bible. But the commentary and the introduction of the books get this blue background whenever I've completed the commentary and the introduction. So Acts is now complete, but Romans is not. I'll show you what Romans looks like. If I just go to chapter 1, you're thrown right here, and there's the text. So you see there's a space where the commentary is going to go, but the margins are there and the text is there. By the way, I'll go to another page where it's more obvious. If you look at the last scripture here, it says, "For what can be," and the rest of that sentence is over on the next page. The reason for the page breaks is because, although I've gone to a lot of level of detail, I have not gone to the level of detail to make the size of the text match perfectly with the layout of the actual Bible. But the scripture that's in the actual Bible on this page, 2158, it starts with the word first at verse 8, and it goes down to the word be. It's the last word in verse 19. So you can correlate the information on this page back to the hard copy quite well. So let's go to a book that is finished, though. This is just a book that's not finished. It's got the scripture in it, like I said, but it does not have, boy, I tell you, if you want to take notes, then you could leave the commentary out. I'm not going to do that, but you could have all this, you can have about half a page of writing on each page. But let me go to, how about the book of Acts? So Acts is finished. So if I click on the chapter, I'll go to a chapter, but if I click on the word, I'm taken to the first page, which is the introduction. So within the ESV Study Bible, you have all these typical sections, author, date. Oh, I need to talk a little bit. If you have an ESV Study Bible, then you'll see that there's a lot of familiarity going on, but it looks a little different, doesn't it? So they use these gold colored bars. Well, I've got a color file that I switch out in my code, and the colors in the code just say use the highlight bar color. But what color that is dependent upon what's in these color files. So I've essentially got a way of creating a themed PDF. So this is the blue theme. I do have the original gold theme, and I've been playing around with a green theme, but I think I've kind of settled on the blue. So the hyperlinks, even the titles, or it may be very unnoticeable, but this has got a hint of blue in it, a little bit lighter. It's not pure black over in these titles and the headers as well. The text color within the blue block, matches the blue. It's probably very subtle. And the tick marks in these timelines, these are incredible timelines. I love the way that the publishers and Crossway decided to do these timelines. This is really, really nice. It almost looks like a Gantt chart if you're a computer programmer or something. Maybe you know about that, but the tick marks or the pills or the capsule shapes or whatever you want. These used to be images, but when I decided to do my themes, I had to come up with a way to produce these. So these are not images. These do not pixelate. So it's vectorized, and you can zoom as much as you want. This is true text. And so all of this chart is very, very representative, with the exception of what colors are used for the pills and the alternating blue. It used to be gold in the original hard copy, but I've produced it now with this nice blue that matches. And by the way, the blue was pulled out of the maps, and so everything's well color coordinated. Not the exact view, not the exact blue, but a blue that's so close it's within the family of the blue that belongs there. So we could talk about hues and shadings, stuff like that if you want, but it's very well color coordinated. But the maps, I've even put a little pixel of one pixel black frame around the maps, and I think the ESV Study Bible does that as well. It's a very nice polished touch to this. The charts. In the charts, I've used a Helvetica font, whereas you got a serif type font in the main part of the body. So this is a good place to talk about the references, because over on the right hand of this chart, you see all these scripture references. Of course, they go with the book of Acts because we're looking at the introduction to Acts, but look at item 7 if you want. So over here, there's these references. So everything within this study Bible, this PDF version, in the way of references, in the commentary, the introduction, is hyperlinked. So if I tap this, the app GoodNotes, which I'm viewing this PDF in, is going to ask me permission to use the default browser, and I'll say yes. And so the way the hyperlinking works is it uses the browser and ESV.org's API to open all of the scripture references within a given list of scripture references on a single page. So the three sections of scripture that were defined are shown at the top with a semicolon at the end of each section, and then back to back they're given here. So if you had, 10 or 3 or 2 or 5 scripture references within a given list, they would open. And then the way the iOS works on the iPad, you can just hit the breadcrumb trail to go back to the app that you were at in the upper left corner, and we'll go back to the GoodNotes app, which is holding the PDF, and so we continue along. And you were even coming right back to even the magnification level that you left it at. So there's that. Then we get to the outline after literary features. So I'm really talking a little bit about the design of the PDF that I created, but I could be given an introduction to the ESV Study Bible. I've seen a lot of reviews on that. Speaking of reviews on that, I didn't know this, and no review covered this, and I think this is pretty incredible. If you own an ESV Study Bible, when you're looking through the commentary sections, you see 3 different styles of some things being highlighted, highlighting, and the way highlighting is used. And so I've discovered what that is. The 3 styles relate to the 3 different levels of the outline. So I made the outline hyperlinked over to jump to the page where that part of the outline is occurring in the book. And so look at, we'll just choose, let's go to where I've got some numbered items. Here we go. Look at item number 3, or Roman numeral number 3, the witness beyond Jerusalem. Let me scroll down. So I'm going to hit that link. And we go. And that, the witness beyond Jerusalem, that highlight has got everything highlit for the entire paragraph in a perfect rectangular shape. That lets you know as a visual cue in your commentary that you're at a item that is a Roman numeral of the outline. That's like a major section. Okay, look at the item right up under it. So there's the whole paragraph, but not the whole paragraph is highlighted. only the description and the reference. So when you see a description and reference highlight, that's like your capital letter A or some capital letter. If it occurs by itself and you don't have something next to it, you know that you're at an in-between kind of a section. And then if we slide over here, you'll see the third type of highlight, which is just the description highlight. So the reference is not. So this is providing support for the thing right above it, which is a capital letter, but this is a numbered item. So this is the first numbered item up under Stephen Bear's The Ultimate Witness, which is a capital letter item. So you got these visual cues, and I thought that was pretty neat. I was like noticing, wait, why is this highlight not uniformly like this other one? And when I got to looking, and then I read hey, you should always read the instructions, right? The introduction to the ESV Study Bible kind of covers that. Tells you about that. You've also got these charts, and so the charts there are tons and tons and tons of charts in this Bible. I've done the charts with a Helvetica, and that's a sans serif type of font, and it doesn't, so it's different from your commentary. And by the way, if you get the hard copy, the whole background to the page is white. But here I have learned how to change the background of a page in mid-page from edge to edge, like past the printable area of most pages, usually on a default printer. So the commentary is in this lighter gray and the scripture has got pure white. By the way, I don't know if I've said this before, but when I said all of the hyperlinks are all of the references are hyperlinked, I also included the margins. So, if I click on this, it'll again open up all the scriptures in the margin references as a list, single list, about whatever that reference letter was referred to, that you can go back to look at where you were when you jumped from the PDF. Okay. Another thing I guess I could tell you is color is cheap when you're producing a PDF, right? So the cross references were black, but hey, why not make them a different color? So I did. So the cross references are not black like the scripture numbers. Here 3 is black and the cross reference is M. And footnotes, right? Well, I've made the footnotes to be, do I have footnotes on this page? Yeah. So there's footnote number 2. So it occurs in chapter 6, verse 3. And so we can go to look at verse 3. Normally you go the other direction. You run from the footnote to that. But there it is. So footnote number 2 is done in green and it's italicized. And in the hard copy, you don't get where the footnote came from. But since I had access to that in a variable in the code, I just said, hey, print this out right before the footnote. So footnote, cross-references, and scriptures are all easily distinguishable. Sometimes the footnote kind of looked like it may have been a verse number, especially in some of the poetry sections where it came, most of the time it's placed at the end of a word, but sometimes it's placed at the beginning of a psalm or something like that. By the way, let's look at Psalms, because that's your poetry section, and I just want to show you that poetry is maintained as far as the formatting. Let me just go to, hey, how about Psalm 1? So the couplets are indented the same. The scriptures for poetry sections are not within the text, they're slid over to the right. Oh, and by the way, I have slid the word Selah on the same line that it occurs, but over to the right, just as a formatting kind of a nicety. And I think the first time it's footnoted, and the ESV kind of talks about what Selah means. But there you go. So formatting is very nicely preserved. As a matter of fact, even the space between poetry blocks, have a nice little gap, so you can see the blocks that someone decided that this may be a paragraph or stanza or whatever you want to say within that psalm. Then that's also maintained. So what have we not talked about? We got artwork, hyperlink system, footnoting. I don't know. Let's. Oh, I am pretty proud of the fact. I'll just go back to the table of content that the page numbers match. Like I had to do a little finagling in the front, but if you ever gone and looked at a PDF and you say, I want to go to page number 25, and then when you go to page number 25 is actually page number 32, or numbered 32 within the PDF. If you look down at the bottom left corner, GoodNotes is telling me that this is actually page 10. And this is numbered page 10. So I kind of like that. Now, as long as I don't skip a book of what I have done, then the page numbers will match. So if I go back to the table of contents for the Old Testament, I've done all the way up to Leviticus, right? Let me just go to Leviticus, how about chapter 10? And if you notice, I'm on page 228. And then if I slide over, GoodNotes at the bottom says I'm on page 228. Pretty neat, I think. Just a side little detail. Lots and lots of thought has been put into this, but I don't know if it comes across. But anyway, let me talk about, this is a good page to talk about that. So there are 3 different color blocks in this one, because every now and then in the commentary section at the bottom, you get something extra that's thrown in. So here the extra is the chart, right? So if it's extra and it's also below all the commentary, I kind of made it into a different color of gray in the block. So all the commentary that relates to the scripture at the top here, is in the first lighter gray. So all of this is your reference notes about your scripture. And by the way, it probably goes without saying, but all of the black bold type is quotation from the scripture, and then they're kind of interleaving that quotation from the scripture into their commentary on that. So sometimes it's a little bit more obvious. When they are dead is a phrase that occurs within Leviticus chapter 11, verse 29 through 35, and then their commentary about that is around there. So the bold is easy to recognize. So if you want to look at something about a particular phrase, you can see if it's bolded or not, to see if they got something to say about it in the commentary section. Let's see. I don't know what else. Oh, writing. Right. This was one of the main motivations for producing a PDF, right? I'm getting away from the apps. I kind of like the apps for a little bit, but lately I've been wanting to go back and get something. Even bought a hard copy and tried to use it, but I guess because I've been using different apps for so long, it was hard to go back to the hard copy. So that's when I started asking myself, can I marry all of the things I like about the hard copy and all of the things I like about a digital into one? And that's when I came up with a PDF. So handwriting is something I really love. I love to handwrite. Typing is fine, but it's a little bit more personal when you handwrite. And there's not a lot of margin room, but you know what? If you zoom up, you got plenty of room. Now, when you zoom back down, your handwriting will be much smaller. So I guess you need to zoom to the level that you want your handwriting size to be when you're finished, and you probably get a good feel for that. And even if you don't, GoodNotes can let you resize your handwriting. So if you want to do all that. But anyway, let me just kind of give you an example here so you can make some note of interest. Here over the side. And who knows, if you want to get fancy, you can go get some line, and you can make this footnote point to something, and when you hold still, it smooths out your lines or draws it a straight line or whatever. So you can make an arrow or whatever. I usually don't do that. Let me come back and just delete that. But what I usually do I don't know why, I just like this, but I go grab a highlighter and I've got a color that's defined that kind of goes with the theme color, and I kind of put it in a little color cloud, and it just kind of lets me know, hey, that's something I wrote, and it's over here. It adds a little bit more prominence to it. And by the way, GoodNotes will even let you search handwritten items. The search isn't really great because if you did a search for the word of, you got like a million different references. How are you going to get down to find what you want? But anyway, if it does give you a little thumbnail. So if you search for the word interest, you might come up with that and see a little thumbnail of it over in blue, and then recognize it and then pop to go to that page. But anyway, what I was getting at, and you can do other things. That's pretty I guess I'm advertising GoodNotes now, not my PDF that I built. But you can move things around. So if your notes get crowded, you've got ways of finagling and massaging, manipulating to kind of give yourself more space on a page. Hey, you know what? This is pretty cool, especially if you're a pastor, because you know what? Loose leaf Bibles. I'm going to delete this note now. Loose leaf Bibles are so expensive, but this is a virtual loose leaf Bible. Let me show you. So you can go and hit this little thumbnail thing, and I really am advertising GoodNotes at this point, but you get a little thumbnail of all the pages, and the page that you're on is highlighted. By the way, this is also where you would set your bookmarks if you want to set a bookmark. Or is it? No, you would do it up here. Never mind. You'd set your bookmark here. Okay, let me go back. So you hit this little squared thing icon over here in the upper left, and it gives you this little thing here. Let's close it because it didn't do it. All right, so I want to move and activate this page. So now when I do it, this page will be highlit, and it even shows you got your bookmark on. But you can hit this drop down thing and add a page after. And then you can select the notebook type of paper that you want. There's lots of different choices here, but I like this one, and you'll see why in a minute. So, and I go back here, and I go over to this page. I got lines at the lower half, and I got this pure white space at the upper. Watch, this is pretty cool. So let's say I want to write a note, something that has to do with this paragraph. I'm going fast just to show you the idea. So take screenshot. I want to send it to nothing. Actually, I just want to copy it. So I hit copy. Okay, so I come over here, hold my finger down, and I hit paste. Okay, let me blow it up to be a little bit bigger. Oh, I don't want it. All right, so blow it up to be a little bit bigger. Level it off a little bit. There we go. Now you can write notes on this stuff at the top. I can point to it. I can highlight in it or whatever I want to do. There's a couple of different ways you can highlight. One of the ways I like, okay, I'm advertising GoodNotes. I need to get away from that and talk about the PDF. I'll just finish this one thought. One thing you can do is grab this, choose your color. I'm going to choose a little bit brighter blue, and then I just draw a little thing around here, and it makes it perfectly smooth. And when you release it, it's filled. So you make a little highlight that away if you want, or you can just grab your highlighter and just highlight. Right, but anyway, this is your grab the pen, go back to the page, grab the pen, and maybe zoom up a little bit, and you can say you can do something neat if you want in cursive. There you go. And who knows, might want to move that around, whatever. But you can start taking your own notes in a virtual loose leaf Bible. And GoodNotes will even let you share one page at a time. So if you write enough commentary here to cover the percentage-wise, then you can legally share a single page from this note, maybe using Sunday school or teaching or something like that. Without Crossway gives some default permissioning for using their text, as long as you cite and give citation to the fact that this was the ESV version of the Bible. Let me go back and delete this because this is all for demo. So okay, make my page active, and then come back. Okay, there it is. And then drop down and say move to trash. So it only does that page, not anything that was in the original PDF. Okay, so there we go, close. But I don't know, maybe I've covered everything. While I'm thinking, before I just close the video out, let me just kind of get out of editing mode because I have to do that for my hyperlinks to work. Let me go to the book of Exodus, just show you this real fast. Yeah, I jumped right to one of the pages where it was. So I've actually also, they have this art, they have lots of artwork, lots and lots of artwork. And I've kind of taken some of the pains to take some of the artwork and give it an alpha channel in the back so that's actually clear in the back instead of white in the back, and then put it inside one of these gray boxes if it was considered quote unquote an extra item in the commentary section. So, and there were lots of little extra items that are over here. So the artwork is really cool in this PDF. So I guess I'm getting at the end of everything I kind of wanted to share, talk about, kind of touched on things in this PDF. But I will say this, I've already made one version of this. I just thought I didn't say some things quite right, maybe left some things out. This is a second take. I will say this, even though I waited the extra hour or so for YouTube to clean up the video, this is pristinely clear. Like, there's a little bit of fuzziness in the YouTube video, but this is really clear. All the text is perfectly clear. It's really, really clear in this PDF. So it's not like you see, and I've also forced to kind of give this in a horizontal view. In an actual setting, I would be using this in a portrait orientation to look at a page, and I do use it in horizontal whenever I'm in a service and the pastor is preaching, and I usually, when I do horizontal, I usually just kind of magnify the text up to something about like that, and then just kind of scroll down with him, and then jump to the next page, and your magnification is observed and still there until you zoom it down to wherever you want it to go. But yeah, a very, very functional Bible. It's a labor of love. I've enjoyed producing it. I'm enjoying the functionality of it. I'm enjoying using it, and all the advantages that people are talking about that you get with a real hard copy, I'm getting from this. I mean, I know where verse so-and-so is on the area. I know it's at the top, it's on the left page. I know it's at the bottom, it's on the right page. I know it's in the middle. I'm getting familiar with my Bible, but my Bible is digital, and it's got my handwritten notes in it, and it's got the easy lookup of the hyperlink system. It's got all of the advantages in one. I'm not losing I'm not clicking over to see the artwork. It's coming on the page in the layout itself. This is a really, really, really nice, useful Bible. I don't have to worry about room for my notes. I can even erase notes and start over on clean page if I want. I can duplicate a page and take notes on both pages, one with this focus and one with that focus. I can zoom up and get the font level that I'm comfortable with. I can actually read the cross references instead of that being super small type. I mean, when you do a hard copy physical Bible, there are a ton of obstacles that you've got to overcome. Well, some of those obstacles are naturally overcome with a PDF, especially on an iPad where you get this ability, like this zooming ability. Like on a computer, you can still use this PDF, but on an iPad, it's just a little bit more usable because of the zooming. You can go to the area that you want, and especially since the 2016 printing of the ESV started doing things in these two-column things, like the introduction to the books are all in 2 columns. Well, that lends itself quite nicely to, zooming in on one column. When you read that column, then you can just slide over to the other side, and you can keep you can maximize it's just nice to look at different areas of the page, You see what I'm getting at. All right. I think that's it. I think I've talked long enough. I think you've got a good feel for this. I think you can kind of see how useful and unique it is. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you liked it, leave a thumbs up. If not, well, anyway, thanks for stopping by. Talk to you later.